Good morning and welcome to today's press conference with Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson, Minister for Foreign Affairs Ann Linde, and Ukraine's Minister for Foreign Affairs Dmytro Kuleba. The press conference will be available on the Swedish government website government.se.
So welcome to this press conference, but of course a very special and warm welcome to the Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. And thank you so much for coming here to Stockholm. We just had a good discussion on the situation in Ukraine and further support to Ukraine. But I really want to say that it means a great deal that you are here in Stockholm. This horrendous war deserves more attention than I promise you. Sweden will continue to be a close friend and supporter. And during my visit to Kiev in July, I saw evidence of actions of shocking Russian brutality in Bucha and Borodzianka, and I saw the atrocities and your large fertile land being devastated. And what I saw left a dark and heavy mark. And the annexation of Crimea in 2014 was illegal, and now it has been more than 6 months since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, an aggression that Sweden condemns in the strongest possible way. And I condemn the countless loss of innocent lives and the destruction of your beautiful country. And Russia's action affects us all. But Ukrainian civilians and soldiers, they are paying with their lives. And we cannot and will not close our eyes. Whenever people are caused great suffering, it concerns us all. Because if injustice is permitted to continue, it will open doors to more injustices. And we cannot let Russia win this unjust and unrightful war. You are defending yourselves and your country, but you're also defending our common European values and a rules-based international order. Borders must never be changed by force or war. And it is our duty and honor to support you. That way is why my government will go forward with the new support packages to Ukraine with a value of 1 billion Swedish kronas. Approximately $100 million. The first part is a new military support package of 500 million Swedish kronas. And the contents of this new support package corresponds to requests from your side and will complement donations made by other nations. A decision will be taken in the near future. The second part is to support Ukraine's economy, resilience and recovery with another 500 million Swedish krona. We are already engaged in developing temporary shelter capacity in Ukraine with the RESC-EU project, and now we will enhance our support for reconstruction and recovery in Ukraine, not least by disposal and reuse of destroyed infrastructure. Recovery of the rubble from destroyed buildings and infrastructure can be hazardous and explosive, and Sweden is well suited to assist Ukraine, together with other international partners in this sector. And as I discussed with President Zelensky in Kiev in July, Sweden will also assume a coordinating responsibility for the development of hygiene and waste security in Ukraine. We will also support with purchase of Ukrainian wheat, which will support the Ukrainian economy and at the same time ensure food shipments out of Ukraine. We will provide funding to the United Nations World Food Programme to purchase, move and deliver wheat that is currently stuck in Ukraine, 2 countries that are in the risk of famine. This means that the Swedish contribution will enable the departure of a fully loaded ship containing approximately 30,000 tons of Ukrainian wheat. and this would go to millions of recipients risking famine. As this enhances self-sufficiency, it is also vital for Ukrainian independence and Ukrainian economy. And finally, let me also congratulate you to the candidate status to the European Union. You are part of the European family, and the European family will help you with this war, and during this war, and after this war. And thank you once again for visiting Stockholm.
Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. It's a big honor to be received by you today in Stockholm as a follow-up to your engagement with President Zelensky, who, as I told you already, and I want media also to know it, who conveyed his best regards to Prime Minister Andersson and words of gratitude for the support that her government has extended to Ukraine. And this is my, mission number one here in Stockholm, is to really say thank you in person to Sweden for many things that this country, this friendly country, has done for Ukraine, especially since the beginning of the Russian full-scale invasion on the 24th of February. Before the war, Ukraine and Sweden were very close to each other. For centuries, basically, but we got even closer since with each other since the beginning of the war. So I came to thank for the defense support that was provided to Ukraine in an unprecedented manner, because it required Sweden to change its policy. For the support of the EU candidacy status for Ukraine, because this is not only about Ukraine, this is about the future of Europe. And as Prime Minister rightly said, we belong to this future together. And also for the participation of the Prime Minister in the recent International Crimea Platform Summit, because whatever the actual situation on the battleground is, we should never forget that this war started in Crimea in 2014, and it will end in Crimea with the liberation of this peninsula. We discussed briefly with my colleague on Linde and Prime Minister the perception of this war in Sweden, in Europe, and across Europe. And I was pleased to note that Prime Minister shares the assessment that on 24th February, President Putin attacked not only Ukraine, he attacked the entire Europe as a certain lifestyle, as a symbol of prosperity and security. The only difference is that Putin hits Ukraine with missiles and tanks, while he hits every European home with energy blackmail, soaring prices, and propaganda. We are in the same boat in this struggle to defend Europe as a project of peace and prosperity against someone who wants to turn Europe into the project of instability and chaos and hatred. This very basic understanding is extremely helpful to stand united. Of course, I will not be. I will be very honest. Immediately after thanking Sweden for everything that has been done, I raised the issue of weapons supply to Ukraine, because when you fight a war, what you need the most is weapons, weapons, and again weapons. In this context, we appreciate the announcement of the new defense package coming from Sweden, half of which will be dedicated to the defense purposes. And the best thing Sweden can do in the field of defense in the coming weeks is to provide Ukraine with its famous self-propelled howitzers, archers, with air defense rockets, RBS-70, with more shells for our artillery systems, because this is, as weird as it may sound, the best way to save human lives, including the lives of civilians, and to save more Ukrainian villages, towns, and cities from destruction, is to provide Ukraine with more weapons, so that we will be able to repel Russian aggression and Russian army. Russian army outnumbers us specifically and dramatically in artillery. The moment we will be able to strike a balance with them in artillery, this will change the course of the war. And this is why I emphasize so much the issue of archers, the howitzers, which are produced by Sweden and are of the highest quality and reputation. And the second scourge of this war are missiles, which hit peaceful Ukrainian cities all across the country. One of the most recent and outrageous attack took lives of thousands of people who were sitting in a train at a train station. So we need anything. Now that we have, 2 days away from the beginning of the schooling season, we want to reinforce our air defense and anti-rocket, anti-missile defense in order to better protect our cities and to give people a chance for a peaceful life in the circumstances of the continued war. Once again, thank you for the continued support, for the announcement of the new package. But as I said, as long as the war continues, we will be asking for more weapons for obvious reasons, to defend Ukraine, but also to defend entire Europe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm also very glad to welcome my dear colleague Dmytro Kuleba to Stockholm again, just before the informal EU foreign ministers meeting in Prague starting tomorrow, where Ukraine, Moldova and Georgia will participate as part of the meeting. In the strongest possible way, we condemn the Russian aggression. We condemn the killings and the bombardments of your beautiful country, where I have been many times, and I also visited you several times. We are appalled by the deliberate shelling of civilians and civilian objects. We continue to be impressed by the Ukrainian people's courage, resilience and bravery. Sweden will continue to stand by your side for as long as it takes. We do not know how long Russia's war will continue, but Sweden is ready to provide long-term sustainable support to Ukraine. The goal is for Ukraine to regain total control over your territory within its internationally recognized border. Russia has galvanized European and transatlantic unity in a way that we did not expect. Sweden will do its part to ensure continued unity and long-term resolve, which will be a key for Ukraine to win this war. Sweden is also ready to push for further EU sanctions against Russia to increase the pressure on the Kremlin to stop the war. Together with our partners, we will help rebuild Ukraine. The decision to grant Ukraine candidate status to the EU was an important milestone in Ukraine's journey towards EU membership. The speed of this journey will be determined by Ukraine's ability to reform its country. You have already made impressive achievements despite the ongoing war, and Sweden will continue to lend full support to this process. During Sweden's EU presidency next year, we will support Ukraine in all ways possible, including when it comes to facilitating reconstruction. During the years since Ukraine's independence, Sweden has been a long-term partner to Ukraine, with a total support of 400 million euros until January this year. Since Russia's full-scale illegal aggression, we have doubled our support with another 500 million euros since February, including today's support package. The support package we are announcing today is in line with the extensive support Sweden has continued to provide since February, a strong emphasis on military and humanitarian support, and now also an important part reflecting our engagement in the recovery of Ukraine. The defense part of the package is worth 500 million Swedish crowns. So is the civilian part, meaning that is the total of 1 billion Swedish crowns. One part of the civilian package relates to the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine, as the Prime Minister said. This involves enhancing our support for sustainable reconstruction of destroyed infrastructure in Ukraine. That is part of Sweden's coordinating responsibility for waste management in Ukraine, which was discussed between our Prime Minister and President Zelensky in July. Making civil areas safe and sound environment to live in is important for endurance of Ukrainian society, and it's also supporting the war efforts. The other part, it relates to humanitarian support and involves financing the purchase of shipment of Ukrainian wheat. The procurement will support the Ukrainian economy and ensure continued food shipments of Ukraine in line with the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Ukraine was the breadbasket of the world before the Russian invasion, and many people around the world depend on Ukrainian wheat for their survival. The Ukrainian wheat will be shipped by the UN and through the World Food Programme, and it will be delivered to those countries that is most in risk of famine. These include Ethiopia, Yemen, and Afghanistan, where millions of people were hungry and starving already before the war, and whose situation has deteriorated to the global consequences of the Russian aggression, such as increase in food prices. This way, we can help both Ukraine and other countries affected by the global consequences of the Russian aggression. Our support to Ukraine is solid. Sweden will stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We start with AFP.
Yes. Good morning. This is a question that goes to Minister Kuleba. What are the latest informations you have regarding the situation and the suspected leaks in Zaporizhia? What do you expect from the Atomic Energy Agency team currently on its way to the site? And do you think that the international community should put in place additional and specific measures to prevent the area from being targeted? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. The IAEA mission is on its way to Ukraine. I spoke with Director General of the agency yesterday, Mr. Rafael Grossi. We coordinated the last details of this mission. It has been a long-standing request of Ukraine for the IAEA to receive access to the plant. They have vast experience in inspecting nuclear power facilities across the world under the most difficult circumstances. But without an exaggeration, this mission will be the hardest in the history of IAEA, given the active combat activities undertaken by the Russian Federation on the ground, and also the very blatant way that Russia is trying to legitimize its presence at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. We expect from the mission a clear statement of facts of violation of all nuclear safety protocols. We know that Russia is putting not only Ukraine but also entire world at threat, at risk of nuclear accident. I do not have any specific update on the leaks. But this is exactly for the IAEA mission to inspect the situation and to come to conclusions. When answering your question about the next things that international community has to do, we should all be united in demanding one thing: the withdrawal of Russia from Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Russia is trying to legitimize its presence and to root itself there, but it goes against nuclear nuclear safety and also about against the energy security in Europe as a whole, for Russia to stay there. Russia must go, and IAEA and as well as other countries of the world, we have to make them go, as simple as that. This is the only way to ensure nuclear security at the power plant. Thank you.
Swedish Institute.
Yes, Mr. Kuleba, on the subject of peace negotiations, there has been fears about lack of unity among European countries. How worried are you about this, and what are your expectations from Sweden during our upcoming EU presidency? Thank you.
We were very frank with all our partners. If you believe that you can push on Ukraine to do something that we believe is against our interests, do not even try to do it, because this will put us at odds with you without helping you to achieve what you are trying to achieve. So there is a broad understanding in Europe now that Russia is not seeking negotiations, Russia is not seeking peace, and we have to stand united. We are not under pressure from any country in Europe or in other parts of the world to engage in talks or to make any concessions to Russia. The focus is completely different now. It's really the full mobilization of efforts and resources to help Ukraine repel the Russian aggression. When we are heading into the 1st of January, I can tell you that when your country is at war, it's not easy to plan that far away. But of course, we do have certain expectations from the Swedish chairmanship. The first one, presidency, the first one will be about making next steps on the path of Ukraine to the full membership in the European Union. We will do our part of the homework. We will be continuing reforms and meeting expectations. But this is, EU integration is a tango, so you need two sides for that, and we are happy to have Sweden as a partner in the first half of the next year, an old and good friend. Sanctions have to be stepped up, and the role of the presidency will be important. And of course, the continued defense support coming from the European Union through the mechanism of the European Peace Facility will also require a leadership. So as I said, we are lucky to have two good friends as consecutive presidencies. I mean the Czech Republic and the upcoming Swedish presidency. We have an ambitious program, and hopefully together we will achieve what we are looking for.
Spilno.
Доброго ранку, пане міністре. Good morning, Madam Prime Minister. Nadia Shevchenko, Spilno TV. There are media reports of Sweden buying Russian gas through via the Finnish Gazum. Last week, at the Ukrainian Independence Day, we've seen such a ship in the port of Nynäshamn. Sorry. Will the minister discuss Sweden stopping importing Russian gas? Will Sweden show its leadership for the rest of EU without waiting for its decision, the official decision? And my second questions will be, of course, about heavy artillery. Will Sweden consider providing more of this, as it is vital for our survival? And will Sweden advocate within EU for bigger provision of that? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. Well, when it comes to gas, Sweden uses a very, very small portion of our energy as gas, and we are having mainly nuclear and hydro. So this is not a very big issue for us. When it comes to the gas that actually comes, which is a very, very small part, is mixed with other countries' gas, like the Danish gas. So you cannot pinpoint that this small part is from Russia, and that's why I make it very difficult. We are pushing for a 8 package of sanction, including gas. So we hope that there will be a sanction also on gas. And the second question of the artillery, what we have said now is that we will give 500 million Swedish crowns to new defense material, and more specifics about that will come in a very short time.
Then we go to DE.
So first, one question for Mr. Kuleba. So today you're receiving more support from Sweden, but a lot of other countries have pledged much more money. Had you expected more from Sweden today?
I always expect more. Don't get me wrong. It's not my whim. It's not my greed that is speaking. My country is at war. We suffer from a big, to some extent, unbearable budget deficit because Russia has destroyed part of our economy. We are fighting a war against the enemy who outnumbers us, and we've been pretty successful in that. But that comes at a price. So while we appreciate every piece of support that is coming from a friend, even if it's just €1, we will still say thank you, because every euro, every bullet, every shell matters. But as long as this war continues, we will always expect more. And another thing is that we will always expect and call on partners to provide us with what we need specifically, because the war is a very, I would say, demands a very targeted effort. When you need weapons and you receive bulletproof vests, this is helpful to receive bulletproof vests. But if you don't get the weapons, the bullets, it doesn't make sense. So we call on all partners, including Sweden, to hear our demands and to give us what we need on the battleground the most. This doesn't mean that we are not grateful for what is given, but we have to win this war. And to win this war, we need what we are asking for.
Can I have one question for Magdalena Andersson as well? So why has Sweden not sent any artillery systems so far? And can we expect this to be part of this package? Or can you give any details of what you're expecting to send us, this 500 million?
I think what Mr. Kuleba is saying is incredibly important. We have to continue support Ukraine throughout this war. And therefore, the Swedish message has been very clear. We will continue to support Ukraine because we cannot let Russia win this war. And that's also the reason why we have taken the historic decision for Sweden to send weapons to a country that is at war. This we had not done since 1939 when Russia invaded Finland. And now we have sent a number of packages of military support, but also financial support, humanitarian support. And this support will continue as long as I am Prime Minister at least, and as long as the war is going on. We will continue to support Ukraine, both with weapons, with financial and humanitarian support, and also support for reconstruction. We can be clear on the details of the next military package in not a long time. It will be in line with the needs of Ukraine, and on top of that, of course, the support for selling wheat, which is good for people that are starving right now, but of course also important for the Ukrainian economy. And of course, the packages we are announcing today, as I said, we will continue to support Ukraine as long as the war is going on. So it's not the last package.
Thank you very much.